For over 10,000 years, the world of Ravnica has existed as a single, sprawling metropolis where layered streets, ancient foundations, and towering guild halls form a vast urban ecosystem with no visible edge. Every facet of life, law and order, commerce, warfare, death, faith, invention, performance, and biological advancement is shaped by 10 powerful organizations known as the guilds, each created to maintain a specific piece of the world's structure under the magical authority of the Guildpact. But the balance that held Ravnica together for millennia was shattered, rebuilt, and destabilized again, leaving the city plane suspended between order and conflict. To understand the fragile peace that governs the modern age, we trace Ravnica's story from the ancient wars of the paruns, through the rise of the Guildpact, its cataclysmic collapse, the rediscovery of the Implicit Maze, and the emergence of the Living Guildpact, who now determines the fate of the world city. Long before Ravnica became a world city, the plane was consumed by a war that spanned every region, involving 10 mighty armies, each commanded by a powerful leader, later known as a parun. These armies were not simply military forces. They embodied the earliest forms of the philosophies that would later define the guilds: rigid law, military zeal, covert influence, natural reclamation, elemental chaos, arcane innovation, ruthless commerce, ecstatic destruction, communal harmony, and biological transformation. Without a unified system of governance, these groups fought openly for territory, survival, and ideological dominance, devastating both the land and the civilizations that tried to endure the ongoing conflict. The war lasted so long that no clear victor emerged. Even the strongest paruns understood that total conquest was impossible. What remained of the world was on the edge of ruin, with cities reduced to rubble and entire regions rendered uninhabitable by magical battles. Material shortages, attrition, and exhaustion reached a turning point. The war could not continue without guaranteeing mutual destruction. This realization forced the 10 paruns into negotiations unlike anything the plane had seen. In a rare moment of collective clarity, the paruns recognized that survival depended on structure, an agreement powerful enough to restrict their own strength. This set the stage for the creation of the Guildpact, a solution that would end the conflict but reshape the world forever. When the 10 paruns gathered, they crafted the Guildpact, a magical contract designed not only to end the war, but to define the future of civilization. The Guildpact assigned each group a specific civic role essential to maintaining world stability: law enforcement to the Azorius Senate, justice and protection to the Boros Legion, information and secrecy to House Dimir, death and renewal to the Golgari Swarm, natural reclamation to the Gruul clans, magical research to the Izzet League, commerce and finance to the Orzhov Syndicate, performance and cathartic chaos to the Cult of Rakdos, harmony and communal life to the Selesnya Conclave, and biological innovation to the Simic Combine. The true power of the Guildpact lay in its magical enforcement. Guilds could no longer wage open war. Any attempt at large-scale conflict was magically suppressed. The pact also established the start of the modern Ravnican calendar, dividing history into the eras before and after its creation. Within a generation, the violence that had nearly destroyed the world subsided, replaced by a rigid but lasting structure in which each guild contributed a necessary function. With the Guildpact in place, the paruns transitioned from warlords into the first guildmasters. The foundation of Ravnican society was set, but the world city itself had yet to emerge. As peace took hold, Ravnica began an unprecedented expansion. Freed from the chaos of war, the plane developed rapidly under guild supervision. The Azorius created systems of law and public governance. The Izzet built power grids, transportation systems, and arcane infrastructure. The Golgari maintained the essential cycle of decay and growth deep within the Undercity, and the Selesnya cultivated living spaces that evolved into great communal enclaves. Over centuries, these developments formed the first foundations of the world city. The lack of boundaries allowed Ravnica to spread across the entire plain. Streets were layered upon ancient ruins, new towers were constructed atop old guild halls, and entire districts rose and fell with the needs of the population. Each generation built upward, outward, or downward, depending on which guild influenced the region. The resulting architecture became a reflection of competing ideologies. Orderly Azorius courts beside explosive Izzet workshops, elegant Orzhov basilicas towering over hidden Dimir entrances, and lush Selesnya gardens surrounded by the reclaimed territories of the Gruul. Despite the peace, tensions simmered beneath the surface. Guilds competed for influence through law, infrastructure, commerce, or manipulation. Yet the Guildpact's unbreakable restrictions ensured that rivalries did not escalate into war. For 10,000 years, Ravnica flourished, transforming into the endless city recognized today. The stability of Ravnica came to a sudden end during the Decamillennial, the 10,000th anniversary of the Guildpact signing. In a catastrophic moment, the magical foundation that maintained balance between the guilds shattered. The Guildpact dissolved, removing the arcane force that prevented inter-guild war. The collapse was immediate and total. With the magical restrictions gone, power struggles erupted across the world city. Political elites, ambitious guild leaders, and influential figures sought to reshape territory and control institutions. The Boros tightened military presence, the Orzhov expanded financial dominance, the Gruul reclaimed land through force, and countless smaller conflicts broke out across districts. The Guildpact had kept Ravnica stable for 10 millennia. Without it, the risk of full-scale collapse surged overnight. Although the world did not return to total war, the loss of the Guildpact created a vacuum that no guild could fill alone. Ravnica entered a volatile era defined by shifting alliances, covert operations, and rising instability. In the years following the Guildpact's destruction, Ravnica survived on tradition rather than magical enforcement. The guilds continued performing their assigned roles, but without the Pact's restrictions, they pursued influence more aggressively. Subtle power plays escalated. Dimir agents infiltrated political networks. Orzhov spirits extended financial control. Rakdos performers tested the limits of public tolerance, and Boros commanders acted more independently than ever before. Districts soon reflected the uneven balance of power. Some areas remained highly regulated under Azorius oversight, while others descended into lawlessness or became contested zones influenced by multiple guilds. Without a unifying magical authority, Ravnica's political structure became unstable. The ancient agreement that once held the world together had vanished, and its absence was felt at every level of society. During this period, many believed Ravnica was experiencing a temporary crisis that would resolve itself. Instead, the instability only deepened, until a forgotten safeguard from the plane's earliest days resurfaced. Stability shifted when the Izzet League, under the direction of Niv Mizzet, uncovered a hidden system beneath Ravnica, the Implicit Maze, designed long ago by Azor, founder of the Azorius Senate. This network of arcane pathways was a contingency mechanism meant to activate only if the Guildpact ever failed. Its purpose was to identify a new arbiter capable of restoring balance to the city plane. The maze required participation from all 10 guilds, forcing them into a reluctant competition-bound collaboration. Each guild selected a champion to navigate the maze, demonstrating not only their strength, but their alignment with the ideals embedded in its design. The process rekindled limited unity between the guilds, but also exposed deep weaknesses and rivalries that had festered since the Guildpact's collapse. The Implicit Maze was the last safeguard left by Azor, a final effort to ensure that Ravnica would not remain without a higher regulating force. The completion of the Implicit Maze brought an unexpected outcome. The maze chose Jace Beleren, a planeswalker, as the Living Guildpact. His spoken word became binding law, restoring a new form of balance across the city. Unlike the original pact, which was an immutable magical contract, the Living Guildpact relied on Jace's presence, judgment, and interpretation of disputes. His authority re-established order, but introduced new vulnerabilities. Because Jace frequently traveled between planes, his absences left Ravnica without its primary stabilizing force. During these periods, guild rivalries intensified. Gruul uprisings surged, Azorius raids expanded, Rakdos performers pushed boundaries of violence, and Dimir manipulation increased in sophistication. The city now balances on a delicate line, partially stabilized by the Living Guildpact, yet constantly threatened by the ambitions of its own guilds. Ravnica survives, but the peace holding it together grows thinner with each passing year. The history of Ravnica is a story of conflict transformed into structure, stability shattered by celebration, and balance restored through an unexpected champion. From the ancient wars of the paruns to the creation of the Guildpact, 10 millennia of controlled peace, the disastrous Decamillennial, and the rise of the Living Guildpact, the world city now stands at a crossroads where every guild action carries the potential to ignite a new era of conflict. Understanding this history is essential to understanding the political landscape, power struggles, and fragile alliances that define Ravnica today. In the next episode, we explore the Azorius Senate, the guild responsible for law, structure, and the systems that keep order in a city constantly pulled between restraint and chaos. We'll examine their founding under Azor, their hierarchy of arresters and law mages, their enforcement methods, and the growing strain placed on their institution as the Living Guildpact's absences become more frequent.